Carlos. Yo, the recording was right in front of me.
Yeah, I think you started already.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
we're
started.
recording right now, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Chica's here. Hi, Chica.
Hello.
Oh, there's 9 people on already. Miss is here. I'm here. I hope you guys are happy to see me. All right, it's 11:02. Okay. All right, let's get started. And so just to give you an overview before we start, oh, Kao's here. Oh my goodness.
Hello, folks.
Hello, guys. This is Kyle. This is my co-founder. I'm gonna have Kyle introduce himself as we start. And Kyle's
Wonderful.
in California, by the way, and I just left California,
Oh,
so fun.
awesome. Uh, Wonderful to see everyone. The name is Carlos. The name is a little hard to pronounce. So it's like awesome. There's a little stop before the letter O. And I am in California. I used to live in LA. Just recently moved for my job to the Bay. And I'm originally from Hawaii. So Kaʻo is my full name. I have my mom's skin tone, but I am part Hawaiian and very proud of it. And equally proud to be partnered with Hawa for Keep Calm and really looking forward to this session.
Thank you so much, Kyle, for joining. And thanks for that introduction. And so to kind of give you guys a brief overview of Keep Calm, it's Kyle and I's partnership kind of started, I believe, 2022. I started writing articles for him, and we started with certain projects, and then now we're here with Keep Calm. And Keep Calm is a virtual nonprofit, right? So we offer resources, and these resources are in the formats of videos, and mostly we partner with professionals. And we're also working with organizations as a nonprofits to provide them with our resources. So to get started, Samantha volunteered to get this exercise going. And so this exercise is called the laughing exercise to just kind of loosen us up a little bit, right? So we start with fake laughing, and then eventually we just laugh, 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 right? And Samantha's background is she has a mental health background, right? So she's worked with people that have behavioral issues, and also she's part of the social work community. So thank you, Sam, for doing this.
Yes, thank you guys for having me. So yes, we're gonna get started with this laughing exercise, and I would love if you guys join me. So
Un
we're just going, sorry?
unmute. If you
Oh,
can unmute, guys, everyone should unmute. Yeah.
okay. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
okay,
Good.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, the laughing exercise, we're just going to start with ha ha ha. We're going to ha 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 until you actually laugh, okay? And yes, just for us to get comfortable and loosen up.
Okay.
So
So
I'll go
let's
ahead
get
and start.
started. Okay. Ha 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 ha
Ha
ha
ha ha
Ha
ha
ha
ha
ha
ha
ha
ha
ha
ha
ha
ha
ha
ha
ha
ha
ha
ha
ha.
ha
ha
ha ha.
Very funny.
Okay, who lasted the longest?
Bro, I'm still laughing.
That's funny.
Okay,
Oh, that was
how
fun.
was?
That was fun. Right. So this is really to just loosen us up before, we start with the topic. And today's speaker is gonna be Chris Abdey. And Chris, you can get started until we finish. And really, I gave Chris about 20 minutes. That way we can have questions in the end if you guys have any. But
Nice.
thanks again, Sam.
Hey. So yeah, thanks, Sam. I actually really love that exercise. That and bunny breath are my two go-tos to get people kind of grounded and into where they're going. So I like that. Yeah, so I'm Chris Abdey. I'm a certified life coach. I've got psychological first aid, dealt in addictions, which actually ties into my focus, which is procrastination, which the umbrella is, burnout, overwhelm, stress, anxiety, distractions more than anything else, really. Before I kind of get started, I wanted to be in best service to everyone here. Maybe just drop like a one or a two in the chat. Um, do you feel like you're more overwhelmed and that's why you feel kind of stuck? Or is it more that you may not have the direction where you're going? So drop a one if you're more overwhelmed, drop a two if maybe you don't have clarity. Okay. So I love that 1.5 in between, flip-flop back and forth. That's normal. I like that. Okay. So we'll talk more about overwhelm, which is something that we all go through. Okay. There's a few different reasons for overwhelm. Actually, there's three main reasons for overwhelm. So one of the top reasons for overwhelm is that you're trying to take on too much, right? Um, and the second reason would be, you're just not aligned with something. So whether that's, core values or maybe it's just not your task. I call it not my circus, not my monkey. And we tend to take on a lot of things that aren't even ours. And I'll come swing back to that in a moment because I have a personal experience to share with you on that and just to show you how quickly things can get out of control, even if it's a small thing that isn't yours. And then the third reason is, maybe we're not sure about how we're going to do something or in what ways we can do something. And there's a distinction there that I'll go over in a second as well. So the first part, and sometimes we feel stuck, is now, and don't feel bad about this if you don't, but how many of you here know your core values? Just drop a yes or no in the chat if you know your core values. Or Y or an N. Um, and you don't have to feel kind of self-conscious about this because I kind of knew my core values when I was 8, and then I kind of forgot them, and I got back to them when I was about 30. So, it happens a lot. But when we're stuck in soul-sucking jobs, we often call them soul-sucking jobs because we're doing something that's not entirely in alignment with who we are or at our base of what we're doing. So going back to overwhelm, if you're not aligned with a certain task, and I'll give you an example. When I first started working and I was about 21 years old in a call center in Nicaragua, working for Virgin Mobile. And I'm a people person. So my core values are, honesty, integrity, and service, right? And so we would get people calling in who wouldn't have their minute packs attached, right? And this is something that just happened in the system, right? So the company policy was, oh, too bad, they're screwed. They got to pay another $20 to actually apply what they wanted. Now, that small little action really took a toll on me, and I wound up actually like hating that part of the job. So I would just give them the minute pack anyway, right? So, but that part of the job, and it was only one small part of the job, and that was enough to throw me off the entire cycle of my work, right? That would really kind of get me anxious and get me kind of like feeling like I don't even want to be there. And it was just one small thing. So if we can identify what our core values are, and we can sort of see where in our life we might be stuck, we can look at the actions we're taking and see kind of if those actions are aligned with who we are, who we want to be, right? The other thing with overwhelm, the second one is, and I'll give you this example too, because I took on a task that wasn't mine, right? So I do a lot of things. I generally don't feel overwhelmed. You know, and then all of a sudden my own brother had some things that he was going through, and so I kind of took it on myself as the older brother to help him out. But see, that really wasn't my thing to do. And so all of a sudden, all these easy things that I used to do day in and day out, I felt really overwhelmed and I was really stressed about it. I'm like, well, that stress actually wasn't what I was doing. It was coming from the fact that I had to deal with this thing with my brother that I really didn't know how to deal with because it wasn't mine to deal with. And so I caused that overwhelm. So that's another thing, right? We want to look at boundaries. Like, is the thing that's overwhelming me, is it really mine? You know? Um, because if it's not, then it's not that we don't want to help, it's that we really just we have to, conserve our energy and support in the ways we can support, but understand that not everything is for us to do. I'm sure all of you have felt that. Um, so those are the things here. And we can actually go into an exercise if any of you feel comfortable. If you feel this is a safe space, if you feel comfortable sharing something, anything that's overwhelming you, we can maybe take a look at that actually in real time and see some of the ways to kind of combat that.
I don't mind kicking us off. So, I for I love that. Well, thank you, Chris. Um, your video is frozen, by the way, so you may want to like turn off the video, turn
Oh,
turn it back on, see if it's working. Um, the as I mentioned, I moved to the Bay, and so for my profession, I'm a design leader in a startup called ID.me, and I love that in your examples, it was work related because I'm definitely overwhelmed very specifically to work. And and I was promoted twice in the last, I don't know, 6 months. And so I'm a chief design officer. It's like the highest I can go in my industry. Um, and so that's although that's very good, it also means like a lot of pressure. And my company is like there's a very high bar to perform really well. And if I were to take a step back, I think I'm doing okay. But I'm overwhelmed by just the amount of responsibility I have, as well as a very long commute that I'm still getting used to. And I see you now, Chris.
there we go. Apologies for that. It was my turn to have a little Zoom issue. I
Okay.
caught the part where you moved to the Bay Area.
Yeah, so moved to the Bay Area. Wonderful in that I got a really great job, but just the pressure of having tons of responsibility as well as now a very long commute.
Hmm. Okay. So you're feeling overwhelmed because now you're starting a new position and the commute as well. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
Okay. Now, this new position that you've taken on, it's relatively new to you. So would it be correct for me to think that maybe there are some parts that you aren't quite sure how or in what ways you can complete those tasks?
Yeah, I think that's fair. There's uh yes is the answer. There's things I need to like learn to be better. And I'm starting to think through a plan of how to do so, but it's overwhelming that I have to even do that.
Got you. Got you. So I saw you tense up there when you said you have to learn something, right?
Yeah.
I'm just curious how this would sit with you. A simple hack whenever I say I have to do something, it's like we
Mm.
immediately kind of tense up and we're like, because we don't like being told what to do. And much more so given your background, being more relaxed from a relaxed environment, I'm sure that that doesn't sit well. It doesn't sit well with anybody really because we're autonomous people, right?
Sure.
So I'd like you to try this, Kao. Just instead of saying I have to, just say I'm choosing to learn. And then we'll say this because, and then insert some reason at the end of that because you want to be better at your job, because you want to be less overwhelmed, whichever you want to put in there, and just tell me how that lands with you if when you change that I choose to.
Yeah, and just for context, I'll let you folks know that there's a software that all my designers use and the entire industry uses, and I don't know how to use the thing. So, uh, with that said, I choose to learn Figma so that I can be better for my team and have a greater knowledge of the tools that we use and be able to actually jump in and design if I'm tapped to do so.
Okay. Like now, how did that land versus where you just sort of cut it off and said, I have to do this?
Yeah, it's really good. I thought you were gonna go with as opposed to I have to, I get to. Um, I choose to is really great. But in addition, I get to do it. My company's willing to pay for the training. Others on my team will benefit from it. I get to do it, and I will, as a result, probably, be able to stay in this job longer and ultimately uh, probably feel less overwhelmed. So,
Mhm. Okay. And now that you know that, and when you say how are you going to do that, well, let's switch that just a little bit. In what ways are you going to be able to do that?
let's see. The hump that I got over was one, just admitting to my team that, hey, I don't even know the tool that we're all using. Um, sorry, rephrase or say the question again so I can make sure I understand correctly.
Right. So in what ways are you getting over that? Like in what ways can
Hmm.
you learn more about that? I'm
Yeah.
not saying how, I'm saying in what ways.
Oh. Well, one, just acknowledging I need to do it. Two, acknowledging how I learn, which is not, being pointed at some courses, but actually having a teacher actually like tell me, here's how this thing works, and then here's your homework for the week. So that's how I'm going to do it. In addition to, so step one is find a bunch of teachers. I've kind of done that, and now step two is like choose one. That's how I'm
Okay.
doing
Excellent. So a scale of 1 to 10, when you started out thinking about the overwhelm there, once you started, sort of walking through it and once you sort of had those ways that you could do it, did the overwhelm get any better, worse, or did it stay the same?
I think slightly better. I'm still early stages, and so, I think
Mhm.
it'll get better and better as I make progress towards it.
Right. And see, that's what I'm getting at. It's not that we're gonna get rid of the overwhelm right away. It's that over time we understand that we let go of the things that we really have no control over. And then once we choose to, I love that you had the get to there too. That's the gratitude. It's definitely they go hand in hand. So when you choose to, you're taking back your own power. When you're saying that you get to, you're kind of putting that up to a higher power. And both are excellent ways of just one, just letting go of what isn't yours specifically. So I like that get to. Gratitude is one of the things I do first thing every day. It's three things all the time. Um,
Awesome. Thank you.
yeah, no, it's definitely a go-to every single day. Whenever you're stressed, stress is what's really funny about stress. And you guys aren't gonna like it when I say this, because I know I didn't, and I had it beaten into my head for like 10 years from coaches and therapists, is that stress is a choice. Um, we are choosing to be stressed because stress is simply the inability to accept some condition that we have no control over. What I'm talking about mental stress, not physical stress. Physical stress, obviously, you run up a hill, it's physical stress. I'm talking about the mental stress. And when he said that, it was really interesting because it's like, oh no, I don't choose to be stressed. Why would I choose that? And the thing is that we choose it because it's something that's familiar to us, and it's this base operating system that we learned to use sometime probably between the years of 0 and 12. Because between 0 and 12, we're getting all this programming in on how we're going to navigate the world and how we're going to survive through puberty. Because once you hit puberty and you mix in the hormones and you mix in all those other things, you don't want to have to be figuring out how you're doing things because you got all those other changes to deal with, right? So by the time you hit puberty, you're locked in. Then between the years of 12 to 19 or whatever, you're really not focused on personal development. It's actually more difficult to do it during that time frame, which is why I'm always impressed by younger people that are so grounded because they're combating the hormonal changes and also the growing up and then the new dynamics of going from elementary to high school. It's just always fascinated me how some individuals are able to do that, which is great. So having a plan, right? So first of all, only dealing with the things that are truly yours, having a plan of how to do it. And then actually, I'm going to go back to that, Kao, just the gratitude and mindfulness. How before we started, you mentioned, different anxieties and things coming out, right? Anxiety is the future, right? So anxiety is the future, and we have no control of the future. So what happens is we get into these negative feedback loops, right? Because we're trying to fix a problem that hasn't happened yet. So how can we fix a problem that hasn't happened? You're just going to be spinning your wheels, spinning your wheels, spinning your wheels. So I definitely promote mindfulness as being in there and actually focused on what you're doing. So, and is it all right if I pick on you, Hawa? I'm not trying to pick on you, but
I'm anxious, but you can do it. It's okay.
okay. No, it's just that no, I won't do it if you're not comfortable. It's just that,
Oh,
so when you're anxious about workshops and webinars and everything like that, because it happens to me too, right? Like, oh, is anybody going to show up? Oh, is the Zoom not going to work? Oh, are people going to like it? Are people going to like me? Are people going to like the speaker? All of those things are sort of out of our control, right? So what we do in those situations is we go back and we actually like ground ourselves into the moment because when you're actually in the moment, you can deal with anything that's right in front of you. And that's true of anything. You can deal with absolutely positively any situation that is right in front of you because you've got the tools and you've got the environment with which to base decisions and do this. This is something that the Navy SEALs have got down, military organizations around the world. Why they don't teach this in schools, I have no idea. But, when you're focused on what you're actually doing, you're not thinking about what could possibly happen and you're not second guessing yourself and you're not sitting there wasting an unnecessary energy on something that you can't fix or can't deal with because it's not in front of you. And that is something else that I spent a long time with my own coaches and therapists going over when I was younger, right? It's like, well, you know, but yeah, but what if it doesn't? And they just come back, well, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen if it didn't, you know? Okay, so let's say nobody shows up. Fine, whatever. I put it on, right? Let's say people don't like the speaker. Fine, that's not my fault. This guy's a jerk. I don't know him. I was giving him a chance. Um, so by bringing ourselves back into the present moment, and actually, I'm thinking Fahad might probably know this better than even myself, right? Because if he's a nurse, he's probably always in the moment, right? Um, and so, well, not always, but I imagine that when he's in the moment, he's in that exact moment, he's not overwhelmed, he's not stressed because he's focused on what he's actually got to do. So and sometimes it's difficult to do that, but it's definitely one of the things, one of the go-tos that I do is the mindfulness for sure. And actually, just going back to Kao for a moment, you've started this new position, but I'd like to do a little power of three exercise with you as well. So whenever I'm feeling challenged or whenever others are feeling challenged, I say, okay, so what's your evidence? What's your evidence that, this time's going to be different, that you're not going to come out of the other side of this? That would be my question.
Cal, you're
You're
muted.
you're on mute.
Yeah, I heard that though.
Say it one more time. I just want to make sure that I get the question. Like,
So I would say, you're feeling overwhelmed right now, and I imagine underneath that there's some performance stuff, and there's some self-belief system there. Won't dig into that. But the question is, what evidence do you actually have that you won't come out of the other side of this like you have every other time?
oh, that's a good question. This is not the first time I have realized like I should probably know the tool and receive training, and then just never, I don't know, pursuing it as diligently as I perhaps should, and then ultimately forgetting it again. So there is some evidence that makes me, want to not repeat that mistake.
Mm, okay. Okay, I see that. Okay. Now, in those other times that you didn't learn those tools or you went off there, I mean, again, this is, and you're not broken, you're not lazy or anything like that. It's just that those other experiences, I imagine, compounded on that. So there was probably some negative experience that came out of one time, probably that came out with that. But it's funny how those get locked in, right?
Yeah.
Um, but what's interesting, and one of the ways that you can do, so my question is to you then, what are some ways that you could get excited about learning that tool?
You know, good question. A meeting I had yesterday with my team. Well, one, just like, being transparent with my team, which is big for me, um, as far as how I am as a leader. And so being transparent about my, I don't know, this being a deficit or something that I can need to improve upon, was first step. And then second step is like I created a team. And so I have a team of like 20 people, and I recognized a few other people that also would be interested in learning. And we had a meeting yesterday. We had some pre-work where we all found a person or two that could be a potential teacher. And then we discussed it. And then my weekend work is like narrow down and choose. And so in the past, it's been a one-on-one, just me learning, but now it's
Mm,
a bunch of us.
mm.
And so I think there's going to be greater accountability for me to actually follow through.
I like that the accountability there. So sounds like that. Sounds like you've already sort of analyzed it and you're already moving forward with everything you're kind of supposed to do to move forward. So that's great. I love that. Definitely accountability helps. It's so funny, like things like focus mate. If you find body doubling works for you, or you need some sort of accountability, I found Focus Mate, which is a free app if you do it like three times, up to 3 times a week or something like that. But unlimited is $10 a month or something like that. But I found it's a really good tool for if you need to sit down and do something you don't really like doing. They have people all over the world. You just pick a time, 20 minutes to 55 minutes or 75 minutes, I think is the longest time. And then you'll just get paired. You get on the screen, you say, hey, I'm working on this, I'm working on this. Hey, put yourself on mute, do your thing. Timer goes off. You discuss, you say, hey, how was did you get yours done? So it's actually a really interesting thing, but I love the fact that you're building that into your team as well. So that's great. Definitely love that. Um, one of the other things about overwhelm too, and this goes back to breaking down tasks. If we feel really overwhelmed about one single big idea, we break it down and yeah. So we'll break it down and we will find the part that is giving us the resistance, right? So I'll give you a personal example of mine. I felt, and this is going to sound really weird. This is why I say you got to have self-compassion with yourself, because what I'm going to share with you, I felt kind of ashamed about because I should know. So I don't go to the gym or anything, but I do weights and I have an exercise bike and a treadmill or whatever in the garage. My daughter gets off school for the summer, and I find that it's warm in Canada for once, so I want to go outside and spend time with her. So I'll do the exercise come the fall when she's in school. So that's great. Up at 5 a.m., out in the garage, do the exercise, we're all good. And so what happens is around mid-November, I start dragging my feet. Like, okay, why is that? I just don't want to get out of bed. I literally don't want to get out of bed because I know that I'm going to go out to the garage and do my exercise. Ah, okay. I'm going to wrap this up really quick so that we have some time for questions. Point is, I broke it down. So is it getting up at 5? No. Is it going out to the garage? Oh, yeah. There's the resistance. So I had looked at it and I noticed that I don't like being cold. So I don't like being cold, so I just added the step of adding that little space heater there so I could actually go out and do the exercise. And once I fixed that one part, I didn't, procrastinate or hold off actually going out there and doing it. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so I guess we'll open it up, Hala. Is that
Yeah, so we have 3 minutes left, and so I wanted to see if you guys have any questions. That from to Chris or Kao or however you want to go about it, but really like the last 3 minutes, we just leave it for any questions. I'll also leave my our email in the chat if you guys want to reach out or if you want to stay updated on anything. So also thank you very much, Chris and Kao. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, and how often do you guys meet? Because I really enjoyed the session, and I just want to take it as a routine thing to be having this kind of
Right now
often
it's just
discussion.
monthly, but
Okay.
by all means I can like double it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. I would love to see you all again. I feel a little overwhelmed that the focus was on me. And so like in future sessions being able to like hear from you folks and
Yeah.
learn your stories and I
And
love how it's creating this community for us.
So much love, guys.
so much love. Thanks, Awa, for bringing us on board. And
Yes, of
the
course.
next session, I will try to contribute and have a full discussion. Yeah.
Awesome.
I have a question. Hi, my name is Chike. I was gonna ask, how do you know the difference, like when between like procrastination and feeling emotionally burnt out?
That is a good question. So the burnout and procrastination are sort of in the same bucket. So burnout can cause procrastination, or procrastination can cause burnout. But normally the differentiation is that if you're feeling burned out, burnout is you're tired or you feel like emotionally exhausted all the time. Or you might feel nothing all the time. And you're just, but you're actually feeling that like all the time. When it's procrastination, then you're only feeling it around a certain thing or certain task or a certain event. And that's really the differentiation between actual like procrastination and having it like the burnout. The procrastination is kind of like this symptom or the cause, but it's always acute. And burnout is more it's more constant and consistent. So like with procrastination, you're only going to feel bad for, the time that you're not doing this thing probably. But with burnout, you're feeling it consistently all day, the entire time.
All right, thank you so much.
No
Okay,
problem.
so we have less than a minute for the call to just automatically end, and I really don't want to keep you guys waiting, so just feel free and keep calm.
Yeah, thank you everyone so much. Really great to see you and looking forward to seeing you again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Hawa.